Let us see. We are live. We are live. Test, test,
Live
test.
we are.
All right. I think this is coming through loud and clear. Welcome to our Total Fitness Bodybuilding video chats. Lee Hayward, joined with Jeff Samataro. And it is warm in New Hampshire today. We were just chatting before we started the stream, and Jeff said it is a balmy 84 degrees there today, which is
84. Look at
84, right?
that. Yeah.
And I'm guessing we're about 40 here in Canada. Like, we use Celsius, so it's 4 degrees Celsius, which is probably around 40 degrees Fahrenheit, if I had to guess. Somewhere in that range. So far cry, weather-wise, but hey, we're here. We're enjoying it. So again, hopefully this is coming through loud and clear, and you can hear us, see us, and all that stuff. Just want to do a little test before we get going. And Lee is joining in, a regular to our chat. Thank you, Lee. Says, I can hear you guys loud and clear. Good. Appreciate it. Awesome. So for those of you who are brand new to these video chats, I want to welcome you. The way this works is myself and Jeff, we're going to be hanging out here for the next hour and answering questions and topics of discussion that you have related to fitness and nutrition. So if there's any specific topics related to your workouts, your nutrition plan, if you have any questions about building muscle, losing body fat, like supplementation, anything fitness and nutrition related, feel free to type those questions and topics of discussion into our chat window, and we'll do the best to help you out over the course of our chat today. And we are streaming from the Total Fitness Bodybuilding YouTube channel as well as through Facebook. So this is coming through on my personal profile as well as the Total Fitness Bodybuilding Facebook page. So hopefully, wherever you're joining in from, you can type into either the chat window or the comments, and we should get those coming across our screen here. So let's see who we got joining in today. Dan is joining in. Welcome. We have Stanley Stud joining in. Hey, bro. How's it going? So if you're joining in, type in, let us know where you're to, where you're located from, and if you're brand new, let us know as well. We always give top priority to new people joining into the video chat because it's always nice to have new people joining in. Yeah. So how have your workouts been over the past week, Jeff? How are things going with you?
Good, yeah, it's been great. Oh, the weather's been so nice. I've been able to get outside and went for a 10-mile bike ride yesterday, which was great. Did some handstand practice outside. I had a lot of fun doing. The calisthenics program's been going really great. Starting phase 3 of our calisthenics program starting this week. So yeah, getting better every week and staying consistent.
Nice.
And doing everything I can. Yeah,
I seen the video you posted of your handstand, which was pretty darn cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm starting to get up to like pretty consistently getting 10-second hold there on the handstand, so I'm feeling good about that.
Where did you share that to? Was that on your profile page, or did you share that with the Total Fitness Bodybuilding group? I can't remember.
That was on my profile page.
Okay. That looked pretty impressive, I gotta say.
I've been working on it for months now, and when I started working on it, I didn't think it was going to take that long to be able to do it, but it's been months. I think I probably started back in like November, and now I'm finally starting to get some consistency there.
But you know what? When something takes longer than you expect, you actually appreciate it more. Like if it came easily, it wouldn't have the same appreciation. And that's actually a good point that applies to fitness and nutrition in general. Like, a lot of people think, oh, I'm going to go on a diet, I'm going to join the gym, and in 30 days, I'm going to be ripped, I'm going to have six-pack abs, and blah, 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 blah. No. It's not going to happen that way. Like, it's not going to happen in the matter of a few weeks or even a few months. Like, this is something that you have to mentally wrap your mind around at least a year to see some solid progress. And if you really want to achieve mastery, it takes years. And the same applies, I know, like in your career as a music teacher, I guess you get the same thing. A lot of people probably want to join, get some music lessons, and hey, hopefully by next week I'll be able to rock out some tunes.
Yeah. Right? Yeah. No, for sure. Yeah. But it's great. I really love practicing. It's a great mix of like strength building and balance and coordination, and it's fun to do.
Let's just see if I can. I want to see if I can find that video clip because that's worth sharing. That was an impressive handstand you did there. Let's just see if I can find that. Where are we? Is that coming through? Let's see.
That's coming through. Yeah. Hey, that's me.
Let's. I don't know if I can make that any bigger enough, but let's just play it anyway. I want to see that video, man.
Hey. Oh.
There we go. Woo!
Hey, not too bad.
No, not bad. Look, there you are. Woo! I think that's pretty darn cool, man. Like, I mean, that's impressive, right? Like, most people cannot do a handstand, and yeah, I can't even remember the last time I tried them. I mean, the last time I did any handstand work, it used to be like wall handstands, like doing handstand push-ups with your feet supported against the wall. But obviously, when you're doing them freestanding, that's totally different. Brings in stabilization and core stability and everything else from a totally different level.
Oh yeah, yeah. Now that I feel confident doing it too, like I can fine tune it a little bit. I want to get my legs a little bit straighter, lock up a little bit more, get more of a posterior tilt happening, so I'm more straight and less with the legs going over. But yeah, no, I feel really good about the progress there. It's every time I do it, it's getting better and better.
Nice. I respect that. That's good. You're enjoying the journey. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a great time.
Good.
Yeah, I get to do it outside.
Enjoy that. Yeah. So let's see what else we got. We got Kelly joining in. Hey, how's it going? We have Leslie Ann joining in saying, love calisthenics. Need to get back at that. Amazing. Awesome. We have John joining in. What's up, fellas? Just joining in. Welcome. Welcome. A lot of discipline. Absolutely. So again, for those of you who are joining in now, the way these video chats work is we're going to be answering questions and topics of discussion that you guys have related to fitness and nutrition. So if there's anything that you would like to discuss, feel free to type it into our chat window, and myself and Jeff will be more than happy to help you out along the way. One thing that I would like to kind of address here now, while we're just waiting for people to type in their own questions and topics of discussion, is some of the things that we've been working on. And I know that, Jeff, you're working on the calisthenics and stuff. And what's your end goal with that ultimately? Like, is there any, like, I'm just curious, what was the motivation behind that? And like, what is it you're ultimately trying to achieve through that?
Well, I've always loved doing calisthenics. Like, even when I was doing like traditional gym workouts and stuff, I always loved doing push-ups and pull-ups and dips. I've always been my favorite kinds of exercises. So I've always enjoyed doing it. And my goals that I'm working towards at the moment right now is I'm trying to be able to work up to do a muscle up. I'm trying to do a planche, and and also I want to be able to do a QDR to a bridge. So I've been working on doing like my bridges, and a QDR is like when you're.
I'm not familiar with that.
Yeah, it's like when you're balancing on your hands, and then you're using like your like hips, like your it's kind of hard to describe, but
sure.
You're like externally rotating your shoulder like this, and you're supporting yourself on the ground, and you're leaning to the right, and you're like your legs are in the air. You gotta look it up. Yeah,
I have to look it up. I kind of vaguely get an image of what you're saying there. So that's a very advanced.
Yeah. So you do that, and then you flip over to a bridge, and then you flip over to the other side, so then you're balancing on your other shoulder. And then you could, from there too, you can go into other movements too. And that's one thing what I really love about calisthenics is like it just turns into like yoga. It's like a flow after a while. You get good at the movements and the groundwork and all that. But I'll tell you, like, I got into it because I was starting to feel like really, really beat up doing all the traditional gym workouts and like the hypertrophy stuff and everything. And I was just starting to like remember like the things that we talk about all the time about staying consistent and how it's all about being in the game the long term.
Right.
I realized that I needed to kind of dial back how much I was beating myself up every single week. I wasn't adequately recovering and all that. So with calisthenics, I like it because it's less strain on the joints.
Yeah.
And I like too how it improves your body function, how your body moves, your flexibility and all that. Like I just feel better doing it than I do going to the gym and doing like traditional workouts and stuff. I always felt like really tight after those kinds of workouts. So I like how this is a great mix of all kinds of functional fitness.
Yeah, I totally respect where you're coming from with that. And that's something that I've kind of evolved with my own training as well. Like back in the day, I mean, obviously started off with bodybuilding training, and then that evolved to powerlifting training. Well, actually, if I go back, my original fitness of choice was martial arts. I started with that. So I did that for several years. And my martial arts instructor was into weight training. So he kind of helped encourage me to get involved with weight training as well. And from there, got involved with bodybuilding. From bodybuilding, got involved with some powerlifting for a while. But bodybuilding was my main thing. That's what I focused on mostly. But I had a lot of injuries through that heavy training, that heavy weight training. And of course, we need to modify things as we go. The older you get, the more you need to respect your body. And that's what the whole Muscle After 40 blueprint is about, is like, how can we still make progress and respect the body? You know, that's the big one. So you're not beating it up, but you're, you know, coaxing it along in a safe and sustainable fashion. So that's the big thing. And I think that's what we're focusing on now as well.
I think like when you start any kind of program, like you have all that piss and vinegar and you get all excited to do it, and then you start like you're going at it really hard and really intense in an unsustainable fashion. And that's kind of what happened to me. I'd been doing it for years and years. And it's just like, and I just started to realize, I was like, you know, if I want to be doing this into my late 30s, my 40s, 50s, 60s, like I gotta find something that agrees with me.
Yeah.
Something that's sustainable long term. So, and I really feel like I found that with this.
Good. Yeah. Leslie's just got a question there. She's asking, what calisthenics program are you doing? You just want to chime in on that one?
Yeah, it's a mix of a lot of things. It's my goals that I'm working on right now is I want to do a muscle up. So I'm doing a lot of muscle up work, like false grip, pull ups, muscle up transitions, learning how to go from the pull up position to the dip position, and then building your strength too in dips. A lot of isometric holds, a lot of core work. And then for leg exercises, a lot of lunges and deep squats, like with an elevated heel where you're going like butt to the floor, essentially, kind of stuff.
I think you're probably asking more along the broader term of that. Like, I know that's some of the stuff you're working on, but like you actually joined a specific calisthenics gym to learn these. Yeah. Like I guess that's what she means by this. Like it's an actual gym in your area, right?
Oh, I see. Yeah. Okay, yeah. No,
I'm assuming that's what it is.
Yeah. No, there's a coach in my area that I found. I actually went to high school with him, and he runs a calisthenics gym now, and he had the same kind of transition. He did bodybuilding in his 20s and then moved to what he's doing now. It's like more like gymnast type of like kind of gym.
Right.
Yeah. So, and I have a one-on-one session with him once a week, and he builds me programs and all that. And yeah.
Nice. I love it.
Power of coaching, man. Let me tell you, I've always had a coach just for like everything I've ever done. And it's always paid off huge every time I've done it.
Exactly.
Music or bodybuilding with you, or now calisthenics with him. It just keeps you motivated, keeps you like busting through plateaus and limiting beliefs. And I just love it. I'm like addicted to it now. I'm looking for a coach for everything I do now. So
yeah, I'm the same way. I mean, like I still get coaching, right? Like, and that's one thing I find, like people who tend to be successful in whatever they're doing, that's one commonality is they seek outside help. You know, they try not to have all the answers themselves because, you know, there's people out there who've mastered this and I can learn from them. And I've even went through a new coaching program myself. I just completed the Precision Nutrition Level 2 Master Health Certification. And that was a game changer. Like, it's a fitness and nutrition coaching program that doesn't talk about fitness and nutrition. And what I mean by that is it's not telling you like grams of macros and protein, carbs and fat and calories and exercises, sets and reps and workout splits. It's none of the tactical stuff. It's all the mindset and the psychology side of fitness and nutrition, because most people know what they should be doing, or at least know enough to get moving in the right direction, but we're not doing what we know. I'll give you a prime example. Like, I always like to use this one. Everyone who smokes cigarettes knows smoking cigarettes is bad for them. Like, they know there's been studies showing that smoking causes cancer and it causes all kinds of health problems and blah, blah, blah. But yet they smoke anyway. Like, they know it's bad for them, but they do it anyway. And they say, well, why don't you just quit? Like, quitting smoking is the easiest thing in the world. You just stop putting cigarettes in your mouth and you're a non-smoker. Like, it's not very complicated, but why is it so hard to quit? The same applies with diet and exercise. Like, everybody knows they should eat right. Everyone knows they should exercise. Everyone knows they should get lots of sleep and avoid smoking and avoid alcohol and all this stuff. How come it's so hard to do? And that's what the Master Health Certification Program really focuses on, is helping people to rewire those default subconscious habits that we have, and do so in a gradual and progressive fashion. You know, like taking those baby steps and making that 1% improvement day after day. And it's been a game changer, right? It really has. I can't say enough good things about it. So anyone who is a fitness and nutrition coach watching this, I would encourage you to check that one out if you're looking for a powerful certification to have behind your belts. But that's something that I went through, and again, it's really helped me get a better understanding of helping people, because it's not just like, hey, what's the best macro split? You know, what's the best diet? What's the best workouts? Hey, should I do 3 sets of 10 or 4 sets of 15? Like, it's not that. It goes much deeper than that.
Yeah, no, you're spot on when you say that it's a mindset. Because I think a lot of people think it's like a linear kind of process, like you're just going from here to there kind of thing. And it's like, it's really not. So you got to find the things that you enjoy. You got to find the things that you love to do. I was talking to a guy yesterday, and he saw my handstand video, and he goes, I saw you balancing on your head there and everything. He's like, I try to go to the gym every single day too. He goes, but I hate every second of it. And he's very adamant. He's like, I hate doing it. And it's like, man, I love doing it. Every time I'm on the rail trail, going for a bike ride or working out or doing something, like, I love to do it. It's like, you don't have to be the strongest, and you don't have to be perfect with what you're doing. It's like, it's all mindset. It's just like enjoying what you're doing, and just trying to make little bits of progress and be the best version of you that you can be. So,
thanks for sharing that. Yeah. What else we got? We got Ricardo's joining in. Welcome. Glad to have you joining our video chats. We have John's got a question. What are some clear indicators that you're not recovering from your workouts? I tend to go 110% until I crash energy-wise. All right, like, that's pretty vague. I would like to, if I was sitting down chatting to John here now, I would want him to clarify what he means by that. But the bottom line there, John, I keep that question up there. How you can judge your recovery is based on your progress. Like, you can train hard, you can push yourself, to failure or exhaustion, or whatever type of training it is that you're doing. Like, it's not bad to do that, but if you are able to recover and make progress from that, that's a sign. So, for example, we kind of, let's take it down another level. We need to differentiate good pain versus bad pain. Good pain is feeling like that muscle burn, the exhaustion. If you're doing cardiovascular training, it could be like lactic acid, and your lungs are burning, and you're gasping for air, and your heart rate's elevated. Like, you're working hard, whether it's from cardio or strength training or whatever type of conditioning, body weight work. Like, it's okay to struggle and work hard, but you need to be able to recover and then also progress. So come back stronger in the future. That's the whole idea of this. We're doing this you break the body down, the body responds in order to build up stronger the next time. So we apply a little bit of stress, we rest, recover, grow, and we come back stronger. So if you're not making progress, that's a sign that you are not recovering properly. Right? Do you have anything you'd like to add to that, or kind of elaborate on it, Jeff? Like, how do you judge if you're not recovering properly?
Yeah, sure. I forget who told me this one time or where I heard this from, but I remember somebody gave me an analogy one time. They said, like, imagine if you were a builder and you went into a house and there were all these little holes in all the wall, and you had to patch them all up. And you're like, okay, cool, I'll patch all these holes up, and then you do it. It takes like a day, and then the wall looks good. Now imagine you're a builder and you walk into a house and the wall is completely demolished, and you look at it and you say to yourself, oh man, this is going to take forever for me to put this wall back together again. And then it takes days and days and days to build that wall back up to where it was again. And then you come in, you demolish the wall again. It's like, you'd be better off with the little patches in the wall in terms of efficiency and building and rebuilding than you are demolishing it all the time. So like there's times where like I go really, really hard, and then there's times where I dial it back a little bit, and it all depends on how I feel and what my energy levels are. But if I go to the gym and like I don't feel like like I'm like destroying myself at that time, like I mean I'll get going, and then depending on how I feel, I might adjust as I go if I start feeling better as I go. But I don't think it's sustainable to like go to the point where like you're crashing at the end and you're on the floor like gasping for air and everything. It's I don't know, I just think it's like it's diminishing returns after a while after you do that, because you're not setting yourself up to recover. Because remember, you get stronger from the rebuilding and the recovery process, not from the demolition process.
Right. No, yeah. I love that analogy, how you the sharing that with the patching the wall versus demolishing the wall and stuff. And we should, that helps, shed some light on this. We should elaborate on John's question a bit more here. Like, it's okay to push yourself occasionally, but like you can't go in there day after day after day and give it 110%. Like, it's okay to go 110% occasionally. And one of the things that I'm really focusing on now, my main priority with my own personal fitness, is I do a lot of cycling, and I'm actually getting ready for a cycling race that's coming up next month now. So I'm going through a training plan for that. It's a road cycling race, one that I actually did last year, and looking forward to doing it again. But one of the things you see in endurance training that's very popular, and it can carry over into resistance and strength training as well, is the idea of polarized training. And the idea there is the majority of your workouts are done at a lower intensity. So it's higher volume, lower intensity. And then occasionally you do high intensity, max effort workouts. So like it's usually around an 80-20 split, somewhere in that range. Now it can vary a little bit, but think of like 20% of the time, I'm going to push myself. I'm going to test my limits and see what I'm made of. 80% of the time, I'm going to go at sub-maximal effort, that's sustainable. And that's a long-term sustainable approach. And it's one that allows you to build up your fitness without breaking down your body and causing injury. So that's the way I structure my workouts. 80% of the time, I'm pushing myself, but I'm staying sub-maximal. Like I'm not going pedal to the metal, but I'm pushing my effort. 20% of the time, I'm redlining it. I'm seeing, I'm pedal to the metal, see what I can do, right? Kind of push the limits. But you have to have that ratio there of pushing yourself and then backing off, pushing yourself and then backing off. And if you're always just going pedal to the metal, redlining it, you're going to blow. You can't sustain that. Whether you blow from not recovering and you're just mentally and physically exhausted, or you're going to have a serious injury, muscle tears, ligament tears, something can go wrong that way as well. So you need to factor in the recovery there. So polarized training is a good motto, and you can apply that to your strength training workouts. Like, not every workout is, hey, let's go in and try a 1 rep max bench press. Like, that's not productive training. Right? 1 rep max or maxing out in anything, that's testing your strength. It's not building your strength, right? It's the higher volume, the repetition work, that's building the strength, right? The max effort going in there, let's see how much we can lift type of thing, that's testing your strength. And there's a difference. Nice. I mean, we could go on and on about it, but hopefully that gives John a few pointers there. Right? I do not go 110% every day when you're in the gym. Right? It's okay to go 100% occasionally, but most days, go 70 or 80%.
Yeah, there's a balance there.
Yep, for sure. Let's see. Neil's joining in. Neil's a regular to our video chats. He says good morning because he's over in the Philippines. He says, what are your thoughts on training while being sick? Currently I have a cough for almost a week and decided to take a day off instead of training. Train full body 3 times a week. It depends on how sick you are, what kind of sickness it is. Like, sick is a very broad term. Some people refer to sick as something that's good, like, man, that's sick, as in that's good. But in this case, I know you're sick as when you're feeling ill. It depends, and I'm going to give you some examples. If I got a sniffle and a little bit of a cough, I may still work out. I'll do the lower intensity workouts, as I was mentioning earlier. I'm not going to push my limits and try to set a new personal best if I'm feeling sick, but I might still be able to do those low intensity works. You know, get out, doing some cardio, going through some easy workouts at sub-maximal efforts. I may be able to still do that. But if I'm really feeling like a bag of crap and I don't want to get out of bed, then yeah, I'll take the day off. I have no shame in that. So you really have to listen to your body and decide what kind of sickness it is. And a rule of thumb that I've heard before, and again, I can't remember exactly where I heard it from, but if you're sick above the neck, meaning, you know, you got a snotty nose or a little bit of a cough or whatever, even though it's not pleasant, you can probably still work out. If you're sick below the neck, like you've got chest congestion or your stomach issues and like you're throwing up or something like that, like you're really sick. If it's sick below the neck, then you're probably best to take the day off and not go to the gym. And nowadays, with the whole scare of the pandemic that we just went through and everything else, like people freak out if somebody coughs or sneezes or something. So you may want to work out from home or do something not in a public place if you are coughing and sneezing or something like that, because people probably wouldn't appreciate it. Right? But how do you view that, Jeff? Like, I mean, obviously everybody gets sick from time to time. So like, how do you deal with it when you do get sick?
Yeah, I mean, if I have like a sniffle or something like that, I'll probably still go to the gym and do something. But I mean, I work out from home, so like I'm not worried about like spreading my germs and all that kind of thing. I think the most important thing is to keep the diet in check when you're not feeling well, making sure that you're getting a lot of water and you're getting adequate rest and stuff like that. Because if you keep going and you push yourself real hard, you can actually prolong how long you're going to be sick for.
Yeah.
So just I'd say focus more on recovery. If you still feel like you can get out and do something and move your body just to feel better, then go ahead and do that, but not trying to set personal records. So it's more like just like getting the blood flow and getting like, just so that way you don't feel stiff and all that kind of stuff. Set yourself up to recover so you can come back stronger.
Sure, makes sense. And sometimes, depending, like if you got a bit of like sinus congestion or whatever, like getting outside for a walk or some type of easy activity, very often like the fresh air, the movement helps to increase that blood flow, that circulation, and it helps to clear out your sinuses. So like, I know it doesn't sound good, but like if I go for a walk, I mean, and breathing in that air, breathing heavier, a little elevated heart rate, it really helps me to blow the boogers out of my nose, if you know what I mean. Right? Because it loosens everything up, and very often I feel better after the walk, right? Versus just sitting at home and having all that congestion just building up. When I do a little bit of light movement, I find it helps to loosen it up and clear the airways. Even if it's just temporary, I find it's like active recovery. It helps the process along. So I will do that if I feel up to it. But again, if you're feeling like you've been hit by a truck, maybe you want to take the day off or go to the doctor, get yourself checked out, right? You know. Well, let's move on. Appreciate you for sharing that. We have Lee Dunnigan asking a question here. It says, I recently received a free whey protein collagen sample with a supplement order. I have no experience with collagen, and I don't know if powder or tablet form was better. I personally use collagen protein powder because that's what collagen is. It is a protein. It's a form of protein. And I use that. I've been using that for several years now. And it's in powder form. I get collagen powder. And it's kind of like, it has almost a neutral taste. Like there is a taste to it, but it's very bland. Like I usually throw it in with my oatmeal, or I throw it in with a blender smoothie or something like that, and you don't even taste it when it's mixed in with something else. So it's a very bland powder, and that's what I do. Like, you can get collagen in tablet form, but when you're looking at powder versus pills or capsules, generally the best bang for your buck is powder. Like creatine monohydrate, for example. Like, you can buy creatine powder or you can get creatine capsules. Generally, the best value for your buck is going to be the powder, because there's less cost in the manufacturing process. It's easier to consume it in the adequate amounts, like a spoonful of powder mixed in with a drink or a smoothie or whatever is probably a lot easier than swallowing a handful of pills. So usually it's a better value, but the actual active ingredient is the same regardless. So it's not really one is better than the other. Jeff, do you use collagen?
I have used it in the past, but I haven't been using it recently, and mostly just because supplements are just so incredibly expensive nowadays.
Sure.
Yeah. So really the only supplements I'm using currently are creatine and protein powder. And for creatine, I like the tablets over the powder.
Okay.
But that's just for a taste thing. I don't know how you do it. I've seen you do dry scooping creatine before. And like I tried to do that, and that was just disgusting. Like I was couldn't do it. I tried mixing it in with like water too, and then stirring it up, and then just real quick down the gullet kind of thing. And I just can't stand the taste of it. So for me, like the tablet, it might be a little bit more expensive, or maybe you don't get as much bang for your buck, but I could actually stomach doing it every single day.
Fair enough. So, makes sense.
I don't know.
Whatever.
Collagen doesn't taste as bad as creatine though. So I mean, maybe I could dry scoop collagen. I used to put collagen in protein in smoothies.
Yeah.
In the morning. Yeah. And I never really tasted it.
No. I mean, you could mix it in with a protein shake if you're drinking protein powder that way. Like, I use protein powder, but I rarely ever drink a protein shake. I will use protein powder like in a blender smoothie. If I have a bowl of oatmeal, I'll stir in a scoop of protein powder to make a high protein oatmeal. I'll get some Greek yogurt and I'll throw in a scoop of protein powder and make like a high protein Greek yogurt pudding. So I'll use protein powder that way to bump up my protein intake, but I rarely ever will drink just, hey, scoop of protein powder in a shaker cup and drink it down. Like, to me, I get no eating pleasure or satisfaction from that. I mean, yes, you're getting protein, which is good if you really need the protein, but I would rather eat it and enjoy it and get the eating satisfaction. So, like, again, having my oatmeal, I enjoy a bowl of oatmeal. Now I can make that a high protein oatmeal. Or the same with the Greek yogurt. I can turn that into a nice, like a pudding, and make it taste almost like a high protein dessert. So that's the way I consume protein, and I'll sometimes throw collagen in with that. And again, it's such a very neutral taste that you won't even taste it most of the time. You can mix it in there, and it's not going to take away from the taste of whatever else you're mixing it with.
Yeah.
Gotcha. But let's see what else we got there. Moving on. John was saying from a weekly standpoint, so that was his question earlier about the recovery, giving it 100% in the gym. That was what he was talking about there earlier. Yeah. But yeah, that's another thing. You can look at it from a weekly standpoint. Like with your training, you want to have that balance where you are still recovering over the course of the week. Like, it's okay to push yourself occasionally, but over the long term, you need to rest, recover, and grow. And that's where the growth happens, is in that rest and recovery process, not in the killing yourself process.
Right.
Who else we got? Marcus is joining in. Welcome, Marcus. Glad to have you tuning in. As John saying, thank you for the breakdown, guys. You're more than welcome. Much obliged. So what we got there? JKS 50. I'm going to be back in the gym after 6 years of home workouts. Could you provide a brief description on CrossFit, what it is and what the workouts are like? Want to see what options are out there. All right. Google. CrossFit is a brand, right? Like it's a brand of gyms. It's But what it usually entails when people refer to CrossFit, it's a style of training where you're trying to combine overall functionality with your workout. So it's not bodybuilding, it's not powerlifting, it's not calisthenics, it's not cardio conditioning. It's all of those things combined together. It's a little bit of everything. That's what CrossFit is. It's cross fitness. Again, I'm just spewing this out on the top of my tongue. I'm not reading this off of. I'm sure if you go to CrossFit's website, they'll have their official definition. But that's my interpretation of it. It's a little bit of everything. So you'd be the best all-around athlete. Like, you're not going to be the best bodybuilder. You're not going to be the best powerlifter. You're not going to be the best runner or the best whatever. But you're going to be pretty damn good at all those things. Right? Like a jack of all trades when it comes to fitness. And that's what most people want. They don't want to be such a good runner that they can win the Boston Marathon, and they don't want to be such a good bodybuilder that they're going to win the Mr. Olympia, or such a good powerlifter that they're elite powerlifter. But they'd like to be able to do a little bit of all that stuff and be in good shape and feel good and healthy and fit. And so that's what CrossFit is all about. As far as, I'm going to go back to the question there again. What else was he asking? If you're really interested in CrossFit, go check out a CrossFit gym, or what they refer to as a CrossFit box. I don't know. That's just a slang term they have in that industry. They don't call them gyms; they call them boxes. So you go check it out. But if you got to be in pretty good shape, like I know if you go to a CrossFit gym, CrossFit box, like they'll say, "Hey, everybody's welcome," blah blah blah. But from a practical point of view, I think you should have a decent level of fitness before you go into one of those places. So again, depending on how in shape you are now, maybe you just want to join a regular gym and just get some, good workouts under your belt for a few months before joining CrossFit gym. That would probably be my take on it. But if you're interested in that, check it out. Go to a local CrossFit gym and see. Jeff, have you ever done CrossFit or been to a CrossFit gym box?
There's a CrossFit gym actually next door.
Do they call it a CrossFit box, or do they call it a gym? I'm just curious, because I've heard them called both.
I've never heard it called a box before.
Okay, all right. I think that's an inside logo, inside slang term, but
that's the inside lingo.
Yeah, right? We're going to the box.
Box. Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
No, I've never personally done a CrossFit workout, but I do know a lot of people who do them, and they enjoy them.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody who does CrossFit that I've talked to, they seem to really love it, and they kind of swear by it.
Right?
It's
following, right? You're in the group, and
yeah.
One of the drawbacks to CrossFit, like I love the idea and the philosophy and everything else, having a little bit of all these different elements of fitness thrown in there. Like I love that idea. But one thing that I don't like about it is the idea of making it a competition to get as many reps as possible. And very often in the process of getting as many reps as possible, form goes out the window. Now, not with everybody, right? I mean, there are some people who still keep good, strict form and everything else. But a lot of times we see this the case, like people are simply going through the motions with their movements to get more repetitions, and they're using momentum and heaving and jerking and kipping and all this kind of stuff just to get their body to go through the motions. Like with pull-up, it's not a strict, slow and controlled pull-up like we see you doing a lot of times. It's just, they're flopping like a fish out of water to get the chin over the bar to count it as a pull-up, right?
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of that, because even though, okay, you can technically get more reps, when you use that explosive, uncontrolled form like that, it really opens up the door for a lot of injuries down the road.
I never got that. It looks like a shoulder injury just waiting to happen.
Oh, yeah, it really does. Now, I'm not a fan of that myself, though. That's my personal critique, if you will. But the overall philosophy of CrossFit, I mean, I think it's great, but it's just the application, right? But yeah,
just like anything, if you enjoy it and you love doing it, it gets you to the gym and it gets you moving your body, then go for it.
Absolutely. Right. And I mean, we can take those critiques to apply to anything. Like, I mean, bodybuilding, there's a slew of things that we can critique about bodybuilding or powerlifting or any sport. Like, there's CrossFit is, I mean, yeah, there's people who love it and hate it. And, there's pros and cons to it, as there is with everything. Right. So,
right.
I'm not knocking it. I'm just saying, like, I think it has its place. Rick is late to the party. Well, better late than never. Glad to have you joining.
You're here.
You're here. That's right. Right. You're here and now. That's all that matters. And he has a question. He says, I wanted to ask, what's a better choice for building muscle? A cage or a Smith setup? So I'm guessing he means a power cage, aka power rack. I usually refer to it as a power rack, but I know a lot of people refer to it as a power cage, or a Smith machine. Personally, I like the power rack. That's what I like. I like the free weight barbell myself. But with that being said, there is a time and a place for a Smith machine. Jeff, what do you got in your home gym? You've got power rack, right?
I have a power rack, yeah. There's definitely benefits, though, to using things like Smith machines or just machines in general, because it gives you that stability. And when you have stability like that, you can kind of push yourself a little bit more. When you're in just a cage like that, you have your balance and all that to worry about as well, right? So there's balance and stability that you have to concern yourself with, as opposed to just a Smith machine. You're locked in there, so you can push yourself to as hard as you want to. But personally, if I had to choose, I would go with the cage.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I mean, the thing that I'm not a fan of when it comes to Smith machines, like, it works really well for certain exercises, and then for others, it doesn't feel as natural, because with certain movements, we're not moving vertically up and down. Like, there's probably a natural arc to the bar path.
Yeah.
Like in the bench press, for example, a lot of times, if you look at somebody doing a free weight barbell bench press, and if you were to videotape them and then map out the bar path, it's not vertically up and down. Like, it comes in like an arc motion. When your arms are over your shoulders versus then when you lower it down to your chest, like, it comes in that swoop type of motion. Same thing with a squat. Same thing with, like a shoulder press or something. Like, a lot of times there's that natural path, and it's not always vertical. It can go in an angle or an arc. And if you're in a Smith machine, that may make it feel a little awkward sometimes. But then we can flip the coin and use the Smith machine can actually be advantageous in certain situations, because it balances and supports the weight for you. So I'll use a prime example where I have used the Smith machine with some of my coaching students, is teaching people how to squat. When you have a free weight barbell on your back, like, sometimes people lean too far forward, or they're afraid they're going to lean too far back or whatever. The Smith machine keeps them in that vertical path. So they're not going to fall forward. They're not going to fall backwards. They can actually just focus on, making depth and doing the squat motion. So it's advantageous in certain situations like that. All right. So it's not right, wrong, good, or bad. It's a different exercise. But if you are looking for, like, you're investing into a home gym, what would be the best all-around piece of equipment? I would go with a power rack or power cage with the free weight barbell. I think that would be the best option. And most of the guys in the Muscle After 40 program who have home gyms, that's what they have set up. Their home gym is based around the power rack and all the accessories that go along with it. And the cool thing about most power racks now, like, you can get cable pulley attachments set up to them. You can have pull-up bars attached to them. Like, it can be a multi-use machine, right, for a home gym.
It's a must. If you're going to have a home gym, I think having it is a must.
And of course, you need the safety aspect of it, right? Putting those safety bars in place and measuring it out so you know where it needs to be for your, if you're doing a bench press or a squat or a shoulder press or wherever, like, having those safety pins set up at the right height, it can literally be a lifesaver in some cases.
Yeah.
Right? So you definitely want to have that. But that's my personal take on that, and Jeff's as well. We have Jose joining in. Hello, just saw the post. Yeah, I did post up on Facebook as well as on YouTube that we are earlier. And just for those of you who are regulars to these video chats, we're probably going to be doing these at an earlier time. Like this, my time zone is different. It's 12 p.m. Eastern time we started, right, Jeff? Or just shortly thereafter?
Yeah, 12 p.m. Yeah.
That works best for Jeff and my schedule for us to both link up together. So more often than not, just kind of heads up for everybody, we're probably going to be doing these video chats at 12 p.m. Eastern time moving forward. Of course, the replays are going to be posted up afterwards if this doesn't work. But I like having a conversation with Jeff just versus me being a solo talking head.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate that.
All right.
Always happy to do these. These are fun.
I appreciate it, man. It's awesome. Sean's a regular to our Muscle After 40 blueprint. He's actually gone through the program himself and made an amazing transformation. He's asking, what would be the perfect post-workout meal for you? Jeff, I'll let you go with that first. Ponder that one over. What's your typical post-workout meal, or do you have a ideal / perfect one?
I don't have like a perfect one, but one that I enjoy is I like taking so a really, really easy one that I did yesterday. I'm going to do today too, right? Is you just get a pan and you do just like ground beef, like a stir fry vegetables and like some pinto beans, and then get that all going in one pan, and then get some jasmine rice going boiling too, and then just make like a burrito bowl like kind of thing. Really, really super easy. Put some taco seasoning in with the ground beef. Oh, it's great. Yeah, and it takes like, I don't know, 10-15 minutes to make it too. It's super easy. And it's great meal prep food too. Like, so what I always make like a pound of the meat, and then I'll have half for lunch, and then I'll save the other half for dinner later that night. That way when I get home from work, I work later. I get out at like 8:30. So when I get out of work, I come home, it's already ready, put it in the microwave. Tastes great. Sometimes I put it in like Joseph wraps, like low carb, like pita wraps and stuff like that, with some lettuce or something in there to get some greens in there. But that's like, I love that recipe, and I recommend that one to a lot of people because it's just so easy. You get everything you need from it.
Nice. I appreciate you for sharing that. And I'm going to address Sean's question from a different angle. The perfect post-workout meal. I'm more of an advocate of pre-workout nutrition and intra-workout nutrition than post-workout nutrition. And this is something I've kind of evolved to over the years from personal experience and just learning my body. And I want to take you back to like back in the day. And when I say back in the day, I'm talking like, when I started training I started working out late 80s, early 90s, that range, the whole mantra was the post-workout window of opportunity. And then the big thing was you got to have your post-workout shake with, high glycemic carbohydrates and fast digesting protein. And you got to have that shake within 2.5 minutes of your last rep in the gym, or else you're going to miss the post-workout anabolic window. Like it was, people write articles in the magazines and had it down to the science. Like, oh, you had to have this exact ratio of protein and fast digesting carbohydrates, and you had to have it, within 2 minutes after your last rep, or you're going to miss the window. And you used to see guys in the gym, like literally they do their last set and then they drop the weight and they run into the locker room and haul out their tub of protein and their tub of dextrose, and they start mixing up the shake as fast as they could, chugging it down so they wouldn't miss their window. Like it's not that exact of a science. It really isn't. Right? It's not. I'm not saying that there's no reason or whatever for a post-workout meal or post-workout nutrition, but pre-workout nutrition is more important, because what you're eating before the workout is actually going to fuel the workout. Like if you work out on an empty stomach and then consume all your nutrition afterwards, well, like you're literally running on empty. Now, if it's a short workout or a low intensity workout, you can probably do that because you got enough stored glycogen in your system to actually get through it. But if you're doing a high intensity workout or a long duration workout, if you run out of glycogen, you're going to bonk. You're going to literally run on empty, and you're not going to have an optimal training session. So what you eat before the workout is more important, and I would focus on that first. So for me, getting a good solid meal before I hit the gym or before I go for a big bike ride or a training session there or whatever, that's what I'm going to focus on first. And then during the workout itself, I make sure that I'm hydrating myself. I'm consuming amino acids, usually essential amino acids is my preference, electrolytes. If it's a long training session that's going beyond an hour, like if I'm doing a big bike ride that's going like 2+ hours long, I'm usually consuming some carbohydrates along there to help restore my glycogen levels. So yeah, I focus on pre and intra-workout nutrition mostly. And then when I come home from my workout or my ride or whatever, I usually just have my next scheduled meal, whatever that happens to be. And it's usually something like what you mentioned, Jeff. Like it's going to be some protein, it's going to be some complex carbohydrates, it's going to be some vegetables. You know, it's going to be a meat and potato and veggie type of meal, right? That's what I'll usually have post-workout nutrition. Right? I'm not big on these specific concoctions like I used to be back in the day. And what was it? They wanted you to have like 75 grams of dextrose, and they wanted you to have like 25 grams of protein, and you had to have that within 2 minutes of your workout. And the reason these numbers came about is because those are the numbers that they use in a medical environment to test your blood sugar. Like if you're going to get a blood sugar test to see if you're diabetic, they usually give you 75 grams of simple carbohydrates to monitor your body's insulin response. So people the supplement companies just piggybacked off that, and they say, okay, this is what you had to have. Right, and then they market their post-workout supplements to match those ratios. And you know, once you start publishing something in a magazine and it goes viral, then you can literally impact the mindset of millions of people, and make millions of dollars if you sell the products to go along with it. Right, but yeah, when you look at the bigger picture, pre and intra-workout nutrition is much better. And this actually helps to control your appetite as well, because then you can eat like a normal human being after your workout. Whereas if you do fasted workouts, what often happens is you get so ravishingly hungry afterwards because your blood sugar crashes and then you're so hungry. When your blood sugar is low, you're not thinking straight, and then you'll eat anything and everything after the workouts. So like that's a problem too. Like a lot of people, I did a fasted workout, and then afterwards they're so hungry, like they just can't stop. They can't control themselves. They'll eat too much. So I find actually spacing it out more actually helps to control your appetite, control your blood sugar, improve your exercise performance, and then you eat like a normal person afterwards without having that uncontrollable temptation to binge. Have you ever done that, Jeff? Did a hard workout and then justify a big binge afterwards? Because you worked out?
Not for many years. Well, since I've had valuable coaching from yourself, but pre-coaching, yeah, sure, I used to do that.
Yeah, I've done it.
Right? I remember I used to make some crazy stuff, man. I used to
you play mind games with yourself. You're like, I did a big workout, right? I deserve to have that. Whatever, I'm going to hit the draw. I deserve to order that jumbo pizza. I just did a big workout. Right?
Yeah, gotta eat big to get big, right?
Right? We've all been there. I mean, even if it's healthy food, sometimes you just can't stop eating and you end up eating just too much, right? And I find if you eat more earlier in the day, it helps to control your appetite later in the day. Because a lot of people try and justify like intermittent fasting and things like that. Like, I don't eat all day, blah, blah, blah. But then when they do get around to eating, it's like opening up the floodgates, and then there's no controlling it. Then they just eat anything and everything. And then it's so much easier to justify poor food choices if you haven't eaten. Like you say, well, I haven't eaten all day. I deserve to have that burger and fries and that ice cream and that pizza. I mean, I didn't eat anything all day. I got to eat. It's easy to make poor choices.
Yeah.
Pre-workout. I know that's a big rant on Sean's simple question, which I often do. But there we go, John. Pre-workout and intra-workout nutrition is more important than post.
There you go.
That's a simple answer. All right, moving on. A quick question. It may be, depending on the answer. Does it make a difference, the angle use on the backrest of the leg press? All right. Do you have a preference with that, Jeff? First of all, I know you work out from home mostly. Do you even have a leg press at home? I don't think you did.
I've used a leg press before, but I've never used it enough where like
Gotcha.
consistently. I've never used it enough consistently. I have a vertical leg press at my house.
Do
But,
you? Okay, cool.
yeah, kind of funny though. I bought it and then I got into my calisthenics program and now I don't need it.
You don't use it, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so it's just kind of hanging out in my basement at the moment.
Yeah, I'm going to share some insights on this one because it's not right or wrong, good or bad, but it's mostly personal preference. And sometimes, depending on the height of the individual, you may need to have a steeper back angle in order for your legs to reach the sled and be able to unrack the weight properly. I notice this especially when I'm working out with my wife Patricia, because I mean I'm a towering 5'6", and she's shorter than me. She's about 5'4", and sometimes, depending on the make of the machine, she sits in the leg press, and like her legs aren't long enough to unrack the weight sled, to push it up and take it off the racks. So we may have to like push the backrest as high as it can go. Sometimes we've even had to get like pads. Like sometimes they had those mats, like people use mats for doing crunches and ab work or whatever. We might stack a few mats on the backrest to push her up a little bit so that she's long enough, her legs are long enough to unrack the sled. So
poor Trish.
Yeah, right? But that's a common issue for people who are vertically challenged, right? And your legs might not be long enough depending on the make of the machine, right? So you may have to do that. But assuming that's not an issue, then it's really just personal preference. Like if you have the angle higher, you may not be able to get your legs deep enough before the top of your thighs is compressing against your chest. So having it angled back a little more allows you to go a little deeper, a little bit better range of motion. It's really something that you can do through trial and error. But bottom line, you're going to hit the legs, the quads and the hamstrings and the glutes and all the major muscles that you're trying to train, regardless of the angle. It's just what's the most advantageous for you. Right? If you are really thick in the torso, you got a big belly, you may need to have that backrest angled back a little more so that your legs are not compressing up against your torso as you're going down. Also, the width of your legs plays a big role as well. Like someone who has a thick torso may have to go wider so that their legs, their knees can come to the sides of their belly, if you will, right? Versus compressing up against your belly if your legs were narrower. So all these different positions within the leg press, it really depends on your body structure, right? It's not right, wrong, good, or bad. It's just personal preferences based on your own individual structure, right? A tall, slim physique would be totally different than a short, stocky physique, and vice versa. If you're tall and thick, then you might be different than someone who's tall and slim. And if you're short and fat, you might be different than someone who's short and thin. It's body type that has the biggest impact there. And that was from Jose from New York. Nice. He's a regular to our chats, tuning in again. Much appreciated to have your support and patronage. Neil saying, thanks for the help. Have a great weekend. You're welcome. Ricardo's joining in. How tired is too tired after a workout? Jeff, how tired is too tired after a workout? How long is it? Right?
I don't know. On a scale of 1 to 10?
Yeah.
10 being as tired as you've ever been in your entire life? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to answer that question. It depends on what you're doing.
It's like one of those questions. How long is a piece of string, right? How loud is loud? I don't know, right? It depends.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I will share some practical advice on that, or at least as practical as I can make it. Most of your workouts should be done to the point where you can recover and function fine afterwards and the next day. Like you don't want to feel like you've been hit by a truck and like cannot do anything the next day, right? Like if you work out today and tomorrow you can't even climb a flight of stairs and it hurts to sit on the toilet, because your muscles are so sore, then yeah, you probably overdid it. I would rather train in a gradual, progressive fashion where the day after a workout, like, okay, there might be a little bit of a delayed onset muscle soreness. Like you might feel a little achy, a little bit of soreness there, but you can still function, right? You're not beat up. if you get to the point where it's painful, you probably did too much. So like within our program, like when we're setting new people up on the, you know, training plans and stuff within the Muscle After 40 blueprint, we always try and steer on the conservative side. Like it's okay to end the workout feeling like you could have done more. And that's actually not a bad thing. Like ending the workout knowing, you know, if I had to, I could have got an extra rep. If I had to, I could have done more sets. I could have went longer. I could have went harder, because that actually makes you hungry and want you coming back for more. Versus if you go through the end of the workout, it's like, holy shit, I can't do anything else. I'm totally and mentally exhausted. Like you just want to lie on the floor and blah. Like that's not very, that doesn't make you want to come back again the next day, because you beat yourself up. You drain the tank dry. It's better to stimulate, not annihilate. Like stimulate a bit of muscle growth and then leave some in reserve and actually want to come back and do it again the next day, versus, you know, kill yourself and like, I don't want to go near the gym. Like earlier, Jeff, you know that guy you were talking about who says he hates the gym?
Yeah.
He's probably doing too damn much, and he hates the gym because I feel exhausted and I feel beat up after the gym. Like if you feel totally drained and exhausted mentally and physically, you're not going to want to do it. But if you do a little bit and you get the endorphins going and you feel good and then you stop, you know, on that high, you actually want to come back and do it again.
Yeah.
Right. You know, I mean, and
100%.
Even playing music, like let's say you practice the drums and you're playing and you're leaving it on a good note, versus you're playing for hours on end until you're physically and mentally exhausted. Like that's not fun.
Yeah. No.
Right? Like there's a fine line.
Yeah. Another thing too is like you got to think about your other commitments that you have in your life. Like if you're killing yourself to the point where you're not, you know, your work is suffering, or you're not showing up for your family or something like that because you feel beat up and tired all the time. Like, I mean, then that's a problem too. So it's like, I don't know. It's nice to think like, you know, we're going to go hard. We're going to go hard every time we go. We're going to go hard. We're going to go hard. But like, realistically, it's like, it's not sustainable to go that hard that often all of the time. So yeah, it's like what we said, earlier about the wall, rebuilding the wall, right? Yeah. Focus on making those small patches in the wall over the long term than demolishing the wall every time you go into the gym.
Exactly. I like that analogy. Yeah. It makes it a lot easier. Well, guys, we've actually gone at just over an hour now, and I know, Jeff, you've got some appointments. Are you playing anywhere tonight? You got a gig on the go tonight?
I am, Lee. I play every weekend. I'm
playing. Where tonight?
I am in Portsmouth, New Hampshire tonight at the Clipper Tavern from 8:30 to whenever they kick us out, I suppose.
There we go.
Yeah.
So where was it? Portsmouth, New Hampshire? Is that what you said?
Portsmouth, New Hampshire. Lee, if you ever come and visit me in New Hampshire, we're going to go check out Portsmouth, because Portsmouth is one of the most beautiful cities you'll ever go to. It's
nice.
Really, really, very, very quaint.
Yeah. So anybody in that area, right? You want to go engage in some entertainment, musical delight, the connection,
musical buffoonery,
right? One of these days, that's going to happen. You know that is definitely going to happen. One of these days, you're going to be playing a gig, and someone's going to say, "You know what? I was watching the Total Fitness Bodybuilding video chat with you and me, Hayward, and you were playing at such and such a venue," and they're going to show up one of these days.
I bet it's going to happen.
Yeah,
I'm waiting for the day you, Trish, and Harvey show up at one of the gigs.
Harvey's probably not going to show up unless it's you know, if it's a nightclub, he's not showing up for quite a while. He's 6 years old.
we play many kid-friendly outdoor gigs.
Well, there we go. We could certainly show up to one of those. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who knows, man? It may even happen sooner than you think. It may even happen this summer, and I would love that. You know.
Yeah.
Even make a road trip down there, right? You're not that far away. You know, it's only a few days drive.
Yeah. Have you ever been to New England? You never been to New England?
I've never. Well, where am I? I drove through like Pennsylvania and Connecticut and stuff. I did Route 66 back in 2011. Myself and Trish did.
Okay.
And so we went from California to Chicago, and then we just took the interstate straight across. But we came through like Pennsylvania, New York, and Connecticut in that area. That's pretty close, though, isn't it? Like we're in the ballpark.
Yeah, no, you're in the ball. You're in the east, like the
But we didn't actually. I don't
yeah.
think we ever did. We did not touch New Hampshire. I don't believe.
Oh, you'd love it. New Hampshire is like. I mean,
Yeah.
I know I'm biased. I've lived here my whole life, but I think it's one of the most beautiful states. Yeah.
But there's some good cycling there as well. Like you got some good cycling trails in that, like the old rail trails and stuff like that.
Well, what I love about New Hampshire is that within an hour you could be in the mountains, you could be at the ocean, or you could be in the city.
Nice.
Yeah. And it's and it's remote, and it feels very remote too. Like you got a lot of privacy here. It's really nice.
Cool. Yeah, well, we'll definitely have to make that work. And check you out playing in the Connection Fits, right? Wherever venue you happen to be at.
Yeah, I'd be nervous with Harvey in the audience there because I know he's quite the drummer nowadays. So.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
He has high standards.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. You have to be on the A game.
Exactly. I don't want to get on Spider-Man's bad side.
No, that's right.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Jeff, I appreciate you for taking the time out of your schedule and sharing your insights. I mean, it's always a great to connect and have these conversations. I know we didn't cover all the questions that came through here today, but you know what? If you do have any further questions that you would like to ask, feel free to reach out to either myself or Jeff. We have our contact information down below this video in the description, so pop that open. You can send us an email. You can message us through Facebook. Either one's fine. I think I even have Jeff's Instagram account there because he posts a lot of fitness content up on his Instagram as well. So feel free to reach out to us. And if you want some help with a customized fitness and nutrition program, or you're interested in coming on board with the Muscle After 40 Blueprint, feel free to reach out and we can have a chat and see if that'd be a good fit for you as well. And in the meantime, I'm going to clear this up, and I know Jeff's going to get ready and play a gig, and we will chat to you next week. All right. And it's going to be around 12 o'clock. It's going to be like our new time for now. 12 o'clock on Fridays is going to be our new time. 12 Eastern, that is. 12 Eastern in North America. Because I remember I posted up on a Facebook notice or something like that. I said, it's going to be, hey, 12 Eastern time. And then someone said, is that in Australia? Like, no, that's in North America. I don't know why that is in Australian time, but if you Google it, I'm sure we'll be able to figure it out.
It's not 12 Eastern time. I'll tell you.
I know it's not. the other, yeah, you're the other corner of the globe there. But anyway, we'll be in touch, and the replay of this is going to be posted up shortly. All right, Jeff. Thanks again. Much appreciated.
All right, Lee. Yeah, always great talking to you. Have a great day.
Will